week I had some really exciting news. My lovely friend Laura and her husband Justin had a baby girl, and she's called Isabella Skye. So in honour of her arrival, I want to dedicate this recipe to her. I hope it's a recipe that she's going to grow up to really enjoy. It's called the Isabella Skye Cottage Pie. For Isabella, I've created a version of cottage pie which she's guaranteed to enjoy, and also that mum and dad will like too. So it's going to be one meal for the whole family. You need 500 grams of minced beef and an onion, and I've got some hot stock here, about 300 ml of beef stock, a can of tomatoes chopped, I've got a teaspoon of thyme, also 3 cloves of garlic, 2 tablespoons of tomato puree, and this is my secret ingredient. It's carrots, but I just blitz them up in a food processor or grate them, and that makes the sauce nice and sweet. I've also got 400 grams of frozen peas, because you need your veg, and most kiddies love peas. And for the topping, instead of just doing potatoes, I've got some swede and sweet potato and parsnip. So probably about 1.5 kilos of potatoes, and probably about 1 kilo of other root veg, maybe a bit more altogether. So this just makes it sweet and nice and a bit different. And obviously milk and butter to make it nice and creamy. The first thing I need to do is peel all my veg. Peeling can be a bit of a chore, but if you have a husband, then they're always handy for that. So where is my husband? He's behind the camera, so he can't peel for me today. You need to peel all your veg and cut it into about 2 centimetre sized cubes, and then I'm going to put it in a pan of boiling water, and that will take around 20 minutes to cook, and then we'll mash that up and that will be our topping. So roughly this sort of size. It doesn't have to be that accurate at all. Once you've peeled your potato, sweet potato and parsnip, whatever you're using for your topping, just put them in a pan and then pour over enough boiling water to cover them. I then want to bring it to the boil and then turn the heat down and let it simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then the vegetables should be soft through. As always, when you cook with mince, it's very important to brown it and drain off the fat, because that's fat that you don't need. And this is extra lean mince anyway, but a lot of fat will come off it. You just need to pop the mince in a saucepan by itself over a medium heat so it sizzles, and then just keep stirring so it breaks up and until all the mince is completely brown and cooked. While the mince is browning, I just want to show you what I do with the onion and the carrot. I'm not one for big chunks of carrot in cottage pie, and many kids are as well. But carrots bring a great flavour to the sauce, especially in cottage pie. So what I do, peel them and just blitz them in my food processor. So you want them quite fine, like this. While I've got the food processor out, I'm also going to do my onions there as well. Not quite as fine as the carrots. If you don't have a food processor, you can grate the carrots and just chop the onions finely. The mince is brown, but quite a bit of fat has come off as well, which is good. So I'm going to drain that, not into a sink, but into a bowl, because it blocks drains. Just drain the mince. And then into that pan, I'm going to put the carrots and onions. Cook them for about 3 or 4 minutes until they're soft. You don't need any oil because there's enough grease in the pan already from the mince. Carrots have been cooking for about 3 or 4 minutes along with the onion. Everything's nice and soft, so I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients to the pan. So I've got my fat-free mince here, which I drained earlier. I've got 3 cloves of garlic, which I've crushed already. I've got 300 mils of beef stock, hot. I just made mine from stock cubes, which I think is fine. About a teaspoon of thyme, which is really nice, just dry thyme. About 2 tablespoons of tomato puree, measured accurately, like so. Got my tin of chopped tomatoes. Controversial, some people say cottage pie should only be gravy sauce, but never mind. And then 400 grams of frozen peas, so you get one of your 5 a day. I'm just going to give everything a really good stir and then leave it to simmer for about 10 minutes while I sort out my topping. Just going to check on my spuds, and because a knife goes through them easily, I know that they're ready, so I'm going to drain them, then pop them back in the pan to mash them up. So to the potatoes you want to add a little butter, about 50 grams, and a splash of milk. Don't add too much, you can always add a bit more later on. I like my mash to be fairly smooth, but you can have it as chunky as you like. You can use a blender to get it really smooth if you like. Now time to build your pie. Start with the mince. Just pop it in. Just press it down with a big serving spoon. Now top with the potato. Now I like to do a big thick layer of potato, because then the cottage pie will serve about 6 people. Ever wondered why people do this on the top of cottage pies? Well, it's so you can get a nice crispy top because you're increasing the surface area. Put the pie in a preheated oven, gas mark 7 or 220°C for about 15 to 20 minutes until it bubbles around that edge and the top is nice and crispy. My pie is now ready. Oh, it smells amazing. So delicious. Bubbling around the edge and crusty on the top. Love it when the saucy comes out from around the edges. I'm just going to serve some on the plate. I love the orange top which comes from using the sweet potato mixed with the potato. So here we have Isabella Skye's cottage pie, a recipe which I hope one day she will grow up to enjoy, but until then Mum and Dad can eat it instead. For full recipe details of this and any other recipes, please visit my website gourmetmum.tv. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.